All right, so I don't think I'm in the frame. Let's move this up a little bit. Take two. I already have been through this entire process and didn't realize it wasn't filming until I went to see the video. Starting over. So what I have here is a yellow rock. I have all the yellow rock I did in the previous video attempt. And I'm going to break this one up instead now so I can show you what I do with the mortar and pestle. You need your dust mask and glasses, and probably you will want a hammer unless your rocks are really small. Turn it the other way and get busy now. So I'm not certain this rock is going to break up easy enough, but we'll see. I'm going to put my mortar and pestle on something so it doesn't damage the table. Put my mask on. I already have my gloves on, and this is where the hammer comes in. Look at that. That broke up very easily. This was clay on the outside, or lemonite, and inside it has a bunch of smaller particles of what looks like clay. I'm going to take those out. So they don't influence the color so much. And they might make a nice yellow too. In fact, I'm just going to leave it all in there. When this is inside of a rock, and sometimes you'll find it in pockets of other types of rocks, it makes a really nice pigment too. Don't always know what color it's going to be, but I'm going to leave it all in here. So the point is to get this ground up to a dust. And this hammering is not how you would typically use a mortar and pestle, but we're working with rocks, not herbs, and this is a stainless steel mortar and pestle specifically so that you can hammer without breaking it. Sometimes you get too much in here. Like right now, I'm going to take some of this out so that I've got less in the bowl. I'm going to check and make sure the video is recording now. Zoom in on what I'm doing. Yes, it is. You can put your hand over it if it starts flying out. And all these little stubborn pieces, that's what the hammer's for. Not all breaking down, some of it's still pretty hard, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in the jar and we will filter that out later and grind those again. If you started with all small rocks, you could skip the previous step of breaking it outside. I found that it takes more time to do it with not trying to get everything into a dust in the first pass and just go straight to breaking it up, getting the dust that I can out of it, and then pour it in the jar. And then we'll filter it and then grind these little pieces that didn't break up again later. This is a canning funnel. I just use it because it's easier to get it into the jar using that. And this is the yellow rock that I just broke up and the yellow rock that I broke up on the first pass when the video didn't record. This is a good amount. And you would use the same process with every color of the rocks you have with anything you want to make paint from. So the next step I'm going to do is filter these larger particles out so that I can make a rough paint, a watercolor paint, just so you can get a feel for the rough paint. We haven't made the binder yet in the class. I'm going to probably do that on the next video so you can make some watercolor binder. But just because everything we've done has been so labor intensive and not resulting in paint yet, I don't want you to get discouraged. So we're going to make a rough watercolor paint out of what we just did today. And then we'll wash the rest of this pigment and get smooth pigment for making a really nice watercolor and oil paint. Let me get my sieve. So this is just a sieve that you can get at Walmart in the home goods department. It'll let the powder go through and it'll keep the bigger pieces up. I'm not going to bother with sieving all of it because I just want enough to make a pan of watercolor for you. And I think we have enough for that. The rest of that will be filtered when we wash it. Okay, so now I'm going to get my muller and my plate and my binder and show you what a pan of watercolor paint will look like made from this very rough pigment. You'll hear how rough it is when we get started.